I'm going to do a little shop update here. One of the first things is going to be a road trip, and I'm not going to show you the road trip, any of the driving. I'm just going to show you those steel loaded. But I'm also, as you know, I go down to Pittsburgh and pick up steel at a big warehouse, and I've talked about that warehouse before. I'm going to show you a little bit of a couple of shots on the inside of it. And then outside where my trailer is loaded and bound down. I also talk about having to go from Pittsburgh to Toledo, Ohio to pick up some stuff. Um, okay, sorry, I got interrupted by someone. What I was going to say is I said in that video when I showed you my loaded trailer that I had to make a run to Toledo. What happened is the people that I make the steel run for got a call from a utility company, and they needed some sheet copper for a project desperately, and the only place it could be located was in Toledo, Ohio. So I made a run from Pittsburgh up to Toledo, and then from Toledo back to Buffalo. I said in the video when I was showing you the trailer that I would bring you back and show you the sheet copper. Well, when I got to that place in Toledo, you couldn't film there. No cell phones or cameras were allowed, so I never photographed it on the trailer, but it was just sheet copper, quarter-inch thick, 14 inches wide, 12 feet long. I don't know how many sheets there was of it. It weighed like 800 pounds. But just loaded it on the trailer with the rest of that steel and brought it all back. So after that, I'm going to go into a little shop update of a new tool I got and why I got it. So I'm just adding a little clip in here. And the reason why I'm doing it, I have been noticing when I go handheld using the gimbal, when I go handheld, there's this weird like noise in the background when I do it in the shop. And when I do it in other places, there's a different kind of a background noise. And I can't tell whether that background noise in a different place is caused by external sources. What my thought was is maybe it's the gimbal that is doing it. So right now I'm handheld and no gimbal. So I'm going to see if this has that background noise. So I'm going to throw the clip in there. Not sure what the results are going to be until I edit it, but go to the first handheld thing, you'll hear that background noise, and let's see if it's in this one. Just going to show you part of this building. This is where I pick up the steel. So these first two bays, I don't know what they are. One of them looks like process piping, the first bay. The second bay, it looks like they actually make catwalks or cable trays, something like that. But these old cranes, they're old cab cranes, the cab underneath the crane, but they've rigged them to be handheld. Now this part of the bay, I don't know what's in there. It looks like some kind of a storage thing. I'm not even sure that I'm supposed to be filming in here, so let's go. I'll take you where these trucks are parked. Right in front of me is where I pick up the steel. I've got to wait for it. So that's one end of the building, and down there is the other end of the building. So I'm going to assume that it was originally, part of the steel industry in the Pittsburgh area, and it was probably appropriated during World War II for building something, maybe planes, whatever. Okay, here is the steel that I loaded in Pittsburgh. I just got a call from the guy. He needs something, a rush job, a rush material for a utility company in Buffalo. So I've got to go to Toledo, pick up some brass material. So that's this, and I'll bring you back when I get the rest of it. Okay, back handheld and no gimbal. To me, now, when I edit these videos and listen to these videos, before I post them to YouTube, I do it in the shop. So there's always the background shop noises, stuff like that. So to me, though, I'm definitely hearing a different background noise, a very kind of a whiny, high-pitched background noise when I use the gimbal, opposed to when I'm not using the gimbal. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. If anybody knows a suggestion of how to stop it, let me know. Or if anybody knows about the gimbals and background, the gimbals creating background noises, I can see how it works. I mean, or how it would happen. The gimbal is a motor operated gyroscope basically, and there probably is any residual noise that you probably can't hear with your ears gets transmitted up through the frame of it to the camera. So I could understand how it happens, but anyways, let me know what you guys think about it. And here we go to the shop tool and kind of why I got it. As part of a shop update, I just wanted to show you this. This is Portaband, Milwaukee Portaband that I bought. I have been wanting one of these for a long time. I used to use these things at work a lot. I mean, every toolbox that we had at work had a Portaband in it. Milwaukee was the preference because of the deep throat. We would cut a lot of like angle iron pipe, stuff like that with it. You cut pipe with it to if we didn't have a machine available to cut it with. We could also cut big pipe with it. What we would do is use a wraparound and mark the pipe all the way around. Now I'm talking 6-inch pipe, 8-inch pipe. We would do a wraparound and go around it, just follow the mark of the wraparound around the pipe and do it that way. But anyways, I went out and bought one of these yesterday because I had a bunch of steel that I got, steel and piping that I got, somebody gave me, and I put it on the trailer, and it was in lengths. The pipe was in 21-foot lengths, and the steel, I'll show it to you. I've got it cut up. I had to bring the trailer around the back of the shop and cut it up in the back on the trailer, and then bring it into the shop to store it. But I'll show it to you. But I just wanted to show you this. Now, I don't know what that is. At first I thought it was plastic. That black thing around it, and it very well could be plastic. Probably is plastic. Milwaukee bandsaws that we used did not have that. They were kind of this pot metal or cast metal thing. Let me tell you the other thing too. Two other things that kind of annoy me. This machine is made in China now, but we'll critique it. I mean, the porta bands that I used to use would last forever and ever. The other thing that annoyed me about this is it came in a case, that big case, and it was wrapped up. And I kind of read it because I was thinking, you know, I wonder if they've included a blade with the damn thing. And I read the stuff on the outside of the box, well, the stuff that was printed in English on the outside of the box, and it didn't say anything about a blade. And I should have suspected right away, because usually if they include something like that, you know, they have it written all over the place, like they're giving you some bonus thing, you know what I mean? And I should have suspected it, but I got it back to the shop, opened it up, and no blade. So I had to go back out. I bought this thing at Home Depot. I paid $2.99. Now I think that's a regular price, $2.99 for this thing. So I had to go back out to Lowe's is the closest place to my shop. So I went back to Lowe's and picked up a 3-pack of porta band blades. But anyways, I've got that. I've been wanting one for a long time. To tell you the truth, I really, this thing came in handy yesterday because it was 2-inch pipe, so you could go through it. We used also cordless porta bands, which were a smaller version of this. Actually, Milwaukee has now come out with a regular version. It's just a little bit smaller than this, but it is a deep throat that is cordless also. And we started using that before I retired, but we used cordless porta bands extensively. They were called, the ones that we used mostly were called Stout, and they're green. Those things would last forever. I can't tell you how many times I dropped one of them things off of a lift. We would take them up on the lift with us, take bundles of rod up on the lift and cut hangers and stuff right up on the lift. Never have to come down, you know. So cordless porta bands were my thing. They were so versatile. You can take them any place, and you don't have to worry about running out an extension cord or having power, or if you don't have power, hooking up a generator. I mean, you had to charge the batteries, but usually there was always a place to charge batteries, a trailer or something on the job site that you could stick the chargers in. But I've actually gone to a couple of auctions where they had some cordless porta bands, but they went way too expensive. As a matter of fact, that big auction that I went to, where a general contractor went out of business, they had a couple of those Stout porta bands there, but people ended up paying more for that used Stout porta band at the auction than they could have bought one online off of eBay or Amazon. But anyways, let me take you over and show you the material that I was cutting up yesterday with this. So we're over here at that rack in the center of the shop, and this 2-inch pipe is what I cut up. Now most of it was in 10-foot. You'll see that most of it is kind of even up there, the shorter even, and most of it was in 21-foot length, so I just cut it 10'6". Those two oddball pieces that are sticking up there were probably cuts. As you can see, it's gas line because of the yellow paint. It was gas line, 2-inch gas line, and it was on the roof of a building. So it's got some tar and stuff on it, but I'm not using it I'm not going to be using it as pipe per se. I'm going to be using it to build stuff or use it for rollers. But that's what the pipe that I cut up yesterday. I cut all of those things. The two longer ones, it had fittings on them, but I just cut the fittings off. I didn't want to reuse fittings. It became such a habit in my industry not to try and reuse fittings that we would just throw them away. But again, they were very cheap. You go out to a fitting now, or go out to a store to buy a fitting now, and you know, I kind of think of all the fittings that I threw away that could have probably been reused, but it was kind of a thing where most of the fittings that we use in fire protection are cast iron, were cast iron fittings, and there was a reason for that. It's kind of old school reason, but if the system froze up or something happened to the system, the fitting would break long before the piping would split or rupture, so that you could always go back and replace the fitting, but the pipe would still be in good condition. You just end up having to replace the fitting. So again, you know, we would take fittings out of piping and or out of systems and just throw them away, not wanting to reuse them, because you could over tighten cast iron fittings and crack them, and then you end up having to take it back out again and reuse it and pulling it out. And they were so cheap that we just threw them away. I wish I had the money of all the fittings that I threw away in my lifetime. It's probably bad light back here. We're at the back of the haul truck, and I've got the door closed, the overhead door closed, because it's raining out. I was out servicing the trailer. I've got to make a run tomorrow, so I was kind of out servicing the trailer, checking the tires and stuff like that, and got a little wet, so I closed the door so the rain didn't get in, and because I didn't want the wind blowing in here with me being wet and getting cold. I'm a wuss. But anyways, this is when I said it was a railing, I say it's a railing because some of it has legs on it, or feet pads on it. I think there used to be an automotive shop down the way. I got this from my landlord gave all this stuff to me, and what it did is I think it came out of the automotive shop, and it was used as a railing to kind of separate a walkway up to the service desk from the repair shop. Yeah, I'm not really positive of that, but I kind of think that's what it was used for. But anyways, I got it. I don't know what I'll use it for right now, but I'll find something. It's made out of pretty heavy wall. I mean, the tubing is pretty small. What is that? It's probably 1.5 inch square tubing. But it's got a pretty thick wall thickness on it. I mean, not real thick, but for the size of the tubing, it's pretty thick. It's heavy. I couldn't, these things were probably, well, my trailer is like 30 feet, well, 26 feet, and it's went from end to end. So these things were about 25, 26 feet long. And I know that they were kind of awkward, but they were hard to pick up. I mean, I could just barely stand them up, let alone pick them up and put them on the trailer. I had to get my grandson over and give me a hand getting them on the trailer because they were so heavy. It's pretty thick wall tubing. But I use them for something. I'm not really sure what right now, but there will always become a need for it. Or if you throw them out, or if you take them to the scrapyard a week later, you'll need them. But anyways, I'll bring you back. Okay, one last discussion about the camera and the background noise. I'm using the gimbal right now. What I've got is hooked up to a external mic, a mic that I use on the tripod. So I did a test shoot. I did not hear that background or that high-pitched background squeaky type noise using the external mic. So I guess it is a function of the GoPro microphone that's built into the camera is picking up that the gimbal, a noise out of the gimbal. Now I did look it up online. but all the discussions were about actually hearing a motor drive noise when you use the gimbal with a GoPro. I'm not getting that motor driven noise. I'm getting that high pitched squeaky type noise, and I've never haven't run into anybody discussing that. So I thinking the external mic, it's not picking up picking up that noise, but if I attach some kind of an external mic to the camera that I can carry around and shoot with a gimbal, is that going to pick it up because it's now attached to the camera? So let me know your thoughts. That's it for this week's update. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe.